Hello and welcome to Bangladesh Today. In this episode, we examine Bangladesh's foreign policy. We have with us in the studio senior journalist and associate editor of Bangla Daily Sangbad Pratidin, Gautam Lahiri. But before we begin our discussion, here is a brief introduction on Bangladesh's relations with its neighbours.
Bangladesh pursues a relatively moderate foreign policy. Its neighboring countries are India and Myanmar. India has played a crucial role in Bangladesh's independence, and though a downslide of relations happened during Khaleda Zia's rule, now under Sheikh Hasina, relations between the two nations are strong and efforts are on to resolve standing issues like the land border agreement and the Teesta River water sharing pact. Meanwhile, Bangladesh and Myanmar have had generally a genial relationship under the Burmese military junta, even though the existence of thousands of Burmese Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh has time and again served as a key aggravation. Bangladesh has also sought greater trade ties and enhancement of road and rail networks with Myanmar to boost economic relations between the two neighbours.
Thank you for coming on the show. I'd like to begin by asking you that, Bangladesh, they follow a kind of a moderate foreign policy. Can you explain to us what its relationship with its neighbours are and how does it survive in this neighbourhood and yet keep an independent foreign policy?
Well, you have to judge the Bangladesh foreign policy from the point of view that there was a scenario before the election, general election. The post-election, now Bangladesh is trying to engage with not only with the neighbors, but also with the big powers. Because earlier before the election there was a almost charge against Bangladesh. They are not listening to the voices of the people. So that's why some of the Western countries were not happy with the earlier dispensation. So the same dispensation is still continuing. But now at the moment, the most important thing that if Bangladesh wants to have a stable government, stable polity, then they have to govern. And governance is the primary main issue. So if they want to govern, obviously they have to deliver to the people, and this means that they have to engage, because it's a small country, they have limited resources. So they have to engage with both neighboring countries as well as to the Western power.
See, Bangladesh, I think there's also a sense of victimhood, whether it is the political parties or whether it's the people, that the country has not got recognition for having faced war crimes, when it was created, for having survived as a democracy despite the onslaught of Islamic terror and organizations which want to move away from the path of democracy. It has managed to withstand all those pressures and prove that it can hold successful elections and continue with democracy. So there's this sense of victimhood even when it comes to practicing its foreign policy. Do you agree?
No, not fully, because there is a sense of joy also, because world polity was also divided on the Bangladesh issue. Whether some of the countries, including India, were always stood by the side of Bangladesh. So for the issues you have mentioned, but the Western power were not so happy. That's true. But post-election, what I see now, that Bangladesh is a large exporter of the garments. It is a huge market in the Europe as well as in the US. So they have to depend on those markets. So it means that they will have to engage with those powers, which they earlier, before election, they have a different political stance they had to take because of their domestic polity. But now, as present, if they want to, I told you that if they want to deliver something for the good of the people, then they have to engage all the neighbors. So they are now, you can say, they are now trying to see, most importantly, what I find that they now want to see the change of government in India, what kind of government comes. So Bangladesh foreign policy will largely depend on that.
Yeah, it has this complex relationship with India, whether from the time of creation to its time of military rule, to its time of democracy. It has fluctuated, it has had its ups and downs. Right now, the perception in India is that India-Bangladesh relations are on a high. The two are cooperating very well. What is the sense that one gets in Bangladesh? Have they been able to reconcile the complexities in relationship with India?
Yeah, they have realized now what has happened actually when last in India, there was an NDA government in India, but in Bangladesh there was a Khaleda Zia government there. So that time relation actually didn't go well. So actually we can say that it went down to a level that almost we are looking at each other almost like an enemy.
Correct.
Or adversary. But I hope if there is a change of government now, even in India, but in Bangladesh, Awami League is in power, and the engagement with this present government,
it's more mature
engagement. So I don't think the change of government will actually jeopardize that kind of engagement, because just a few days ago, even after the election, that Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh came here. He had a quite wide range of discussions, not
with
only
both parties. With
not
the two major parties in India.
I am saying on the he had a discussion with the bureaucracy, particularly with the Foreign Secretary, Home Secretary, Textile Secretary, Power Secretary. Now at the moment our Power Secretary
that
is
the
in
relationship
Bangladesh.
will continue regardless of change of establishment
in India.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I think Bangladesh is trying to follow a moderate kind of foreign policy, what you have started with, that even with the Western power, even I find that even the Western powers, like their US is trying to engage with Bangladesh, they are not abandoning fully.
Correct. Now, if we were to talk about Bangladesh's relationship with Pakistan, I mean, the relationship status would say complex, complicated, in trouble. It's gone. I mean, obviously, because it was created from Pakistan. It was East Pakistan. It went about creation. It's had a very, very troubled relationship with Pakistan. But now the two countries are playing cricket, they're trading, they have cultural relations. Has the suspicion come down over the years between the two countries? Is it a more mature relationship between Pakistan and Bangladesh?
Exactly. To that, I will agree to that, because now I find that people-to-people contact have grown between Bangladesh and Pakistan, which were not seen in earlier days. That's true. The relationship with Pakistan is based on some emotive issues. Like their minister, they still demand officially that Pakistan should apologize for the massacre. But sometimes, there is a kind of a rhetoric.
That's only General Musharraf has made some kind of
even Bangladesh foreign minister also officially demanded, an earlier foreign minister also demanded that Pakistan should apologize. That kind of,
and they want a closure to the war crimes. They want those people to be brought to trial. That's not going to happen. So there we are again going into trouble.
But I found that even Pakistan foreign minister, the then foreign minister, Hina Rabbani Khan, was telling that leave us behind all those past history. We should engage ourselves.
Is it possible, looking at the very complicated history that the subcontinent has had, India has had, is it really possible to shut the doors on history? It's recent history. It's less than.
There is a problem of ideology too, but point is, even in Bangladesh, if you see the polity of Bangladesh, where there are certain political parties which still have a soft corner, or they get people, Bangladesh government
umbilical links to Pakistan.
Linked to Pakistan. So these Jamaat Islami particularly, they are the part of a pan-Islamic movement. So in that sense, they have a definite Pakistan link with all those kind of organizations. They are counterpart in Pakistan.
If we were to move to China, what is, I mean, Bangladesh and China have very, very vibrant economic relationship now. There's tariff barriers have come down. They're trading quite a bit. Now comes the whole complexity of India viewing this relationship between this warmth in ties between China and Bangladesh with suspicion. Is it possible for the three countries to have a relationship with each other without being suspicious of the third person?
Yes, in that sense, I will go by what Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has said, that in this world there is enough space for the two big Asian countries, India and China,
to coexist.
They can't compete. They may compete in a positive sense of term. So in Bangladesh also, China is engaging definitely. They are trying to come to build the ports and the roads, etc., which which might be a matter of a concern for India. But point is, if India gets that kind of access, both India and China.
India uses the ports and uses the roads, and China builds it. Is that what you're saying?
No, not only that. Even India is also helping to build up certain infrastructure facilities. So linked, road linked, it's a multimodal kind of transport which India is visualizing, where whoever builds that port, India always be a part of that port. So that's the issue now is being discussed. Actually, I find that Tista, though it's a definitely should be done, land boundary agreement should be implemented. But now Bangladesh government and India government is engaging in more on the connective beyond Tista and land boundary. It has been done, it has been signed, not only the Tista has yet to be signed.
Yeah.
But the other issues like trade, now day before yesterday perhaps our foreign secretary in some symposium he has said that now if the trade has to increase, then there should be a component of investment. Investment and trade should go together. That is the main pillar. So, India and Bangladesh are now I find at least at the officials level, now the engagement going in a very positive way. Look, ultimately it may give a good result.
What about Bangladesh's relations with Myanmar? Now, there is a problem of terrorism, cross-border terrorism out there. Do you see in the years forward this becoming a flashpoint out here?
Well, there is an issue called Rohingya Muslims in Rakhine province of Myanmar, which Bangladesh is raising their concern that people of those areas are trying to come over to Bangladesh, which Bangladesh is a small country, cannot give shelter to all those peoples. So, Myanmar has to settle those issues domestically in their own way. But point is, even Bangladesh, even recently in the Myanmar BCIM meeting, even I found that Bangladesh was eager to have a relationship with Myanmar in the so far in the trade and connectivity concern. They have given proposals that from Dhaka to through India to Myanmar, there should be a road or connectivity so that they can export their product beyond Myanmar to even Southeast Asia. So, they have a larger game plan, definitely that is a good idea, though this issue is troubling the relationship between the two countries, nobody can deny that. But point is, everywhere there will find some kind of emotive issue is holding up the relationship.
So then, you know, when you're talking about Bangladesh's relationship with its neighbors as well as with the other countries, you will talk about multi-sectoral, you know, when you're talking about say BIMSTEC, OIC, SARC, NAM, Bangladesh is a member in all these countries. Has it benefited by you know, being a member out here? Has it, or is it just a token membership that it has in all these countries? Why is it that in the OIC it is not able to really push its view? It's just there. That's all that the role that Bangladesh has played.
No, it's a very important point, no doubt you are saying that's true, but Bangladesh actually domestically was so unstable, they could not settle themselves so that they can look beyond their own country. So, that is exactly what is happening in last 10 years, but we see that now Bangladesh is trying to come up in the international fora. So, perhaps if they can settle politically in their own country, if they can govern, if there is a peace and stability in the country, I think they will now try to engage themselves with all the international community, which you are referring to. So, I think now they are trying to just start their initiative. You can say what you have said, that is correct, that they were not seen as so taking a proactive role in that international fora, because they were busy in their own domestic.
Correct. Now that you know they have established that they are a democracy, secular but Islamic in nature too, and you know it's a role model for Islamic nations to show that here is a Muslim country which is practicing secularism, is practicing democracy, and is successful in cracking down on terrorism as well. So it would be, you know, something for the OIC to show with pride, for SARC to show with pride.
No, actually, what has happened in Bangladesh, particularly what you are saying that why they are not taking much more initiative. Actually, I was referring to this point because in Bangladesh there is always a change of government, nature of the government was different. Sometimes there was some military rulers, sometimes after that some caretaker government, so-called caretaker government backed by a military. Now, after that you have seen
relative stability.
Relative stability have come. So, for Bangladesh, no last word can be said right now, but it is yet to be seen. It is only a few months have now passed after the general election, which is so controversial. Many of the countries have not recognized that election till today, though are engaging now, started engaging. But point is, so it is now Bangladesh government is to do in both ways, that they have to settle themselves in their own country, there should be a political stability, they have to govern first,
And then take baby steps towards a more muscular foreign policy?
Cannot, if you finish one task, then you will go for the next. No, it should go together parallelly and simultaneously.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.